Hello, everyone, and welcome to the KubeBuilder Controller Runtime and Controller Tools meeting for, what's today? On Thursday, March 26th in 2020. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and will later be saved on YouTube, so don't say anything that you wouldn't want archaeologists to dig up in 1,000 years. And with that, let's get started. We have, I think, 5 items on the agenda today. So in the first one is a PSA about release. So Vince, do you want to take it away?
Sure. Do you want me to share the screen? Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Let me find this one. Can anybody see? A little bigger. Okay, so the first PSA is just like we have 2 new releases, controller runtime 052, which was cut today, and 028. 052 has a new helper to configure logger options via pflags. There's 2 bug fixes. One is a break-in change in mtest, which we didn't mean to add, so and that got fixed in 846, and then the delay in the rate limiter. I think this is only for the dynamic rest mapper, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes. And then 028 has a new resource name in field in the RBAC marker. And there's a bug fix, which was actually like also breaking change, which we didn't mean to error when the webbook match policy is not set. For those of you that didn't like look at the other release, we have match policy now in the webbook scaffolding, and you can set it to I think exact or equivalent. And yeah, that's all I have. Any questions on the releases?
As a note, I think that there is a bug that we fixed just after the release with one of the new features from last release, support for webhooks in env-test. So we'll probably be doing another minor release relatively soon.
Good.
I will drop the link in the meeting notes in case anyone is interested and or experiencing the issue.
Yes, I remember this. Yeah, it was definitely cut a new release with this. Okay, should we continue with the agenda items?
Okay, I'll go next unless there's anything else. Yeah, so you can all hear me, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So plugins phase 1 is very close to completion. This is the feature branch that everything plugins related that's been committed so far is in. And there's one more PR that is currently open. Post a link for that. If I can get out of full screen. And that has to do with configuring the config file for plugins that have been added on top of KubeBuilder space plugins. And so that could also take some reviews. But over the next, probably next week, I think that the feature branch will be ready for PR against master. And if we could get as many reviews on that as possible, that would be great, because this is a fairly big change to the plumbing of KubeBuilder. Another thing you could do is read the design doc and then try and create like a little test plugin to do some scaffolding yourself and play around with it, see if there are any caveats or drawbacks that you've encountered, and post about them, because we want this to be as robust as possible for people to be creating plugins and extending KubeBuilder as they see fit. And also going forward, there will be a phase 2 proposal submission that deals with pipelining plugins together. So taking the base scaffolding of KubeBuilder and extending it before writing it to disk, or being able to modify scaffolds in memory and then commit them to disk. So you can add various different mix-ins for Go files and scaffold build files and things like that based off of the state of the KubeBuilder scaffold project. So yeah, I mostly wanted to let this be known to the wider community that this is being done, and is a very big change to how KubeBuilder works under the hood. So take a look when you get a chance.
Awesome. I think
Yeah.
the next one is Joe with controller tools.
Yep. So there's this interesting issue we ran into where we tried to create a type that's like a map of conditions, basically. And if you're aware of what conditions are in Kubernetes, they're arrays. So what we wanted to do is have a map that is keyed on the condition type, and then we can marshal it out to an array. And it makes dealing with conditions a lot easier because we want set-based semantics. So one thing we ran into in controller tools is that when we try to, so the controller tools added the type override in the CRD generation annotation. And it turns out that when you use that in this case, what happens under the hood is that the CRD that gets generated, you get type equals array, but then the other fields in the validation section don't line up with how an array is supposed to look. So I'm curious what we want to do about this. It seems like for the particular case that I have, I think there's a potential fix that we can make, but it's just like the one of many, many possible permutations of going from one type to a different type. And trying to deal with all of those seems a little crazy, but I don't know if anybody has seen this issue or knows what I'm talking about. But I'm interested in solving this one way or another.
So, hold up. From the original, so you're trying to apply type equals array to this. Do you have custom serialization on conditions? Yeah.
So we have like a marshal function and an unmarshal function that knows how to go to an array, to a JSON array, and from a JSON array into our Go map.
Okay. So we have an open issue, a feature request somewhere around here, about opaque types, basically. We have a whole class of issues that is basically things with custom JSON serialization are really hard to make actually work.
Right.
And so I think this falls under that class of things. Let me see if I can find the issue. Because there's like other similar things with like types that we don't support or that have custom JSON serialization but don't have like have private fields or don't have markers on their public, not markers, tags on their public fields.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, the same class of problem. And so I think we just generally need to solve that together.
Seems reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. I found the, I will drop the issue into meeting notes. Yeah, so I think basically we need a way to do the equivalent of a market type as being treated as opaque by our conversion system. We should probably do that automatically if there's a custom if there's a custom like Marshall JSON on Marshall JSON, which we can detect in controller tools. We can say if someone's implemented Marshall on Marshall JSON, like we really can't say anything about the JSON schema.
Right.
And then probably a corresponding marker that's just like, all right, no holds barred, specify the raw JSON schema or something. Because like, there's stuff that you want to do in those cases where we don't really generally want to expose a marker for them. And so it's probably faster than figuring out exactly what markers and semantics we want to expose to, like, specifically in that case, allow people to just specify custom JSON schema.
Do you think that, so in this case, like we have like a validation field that says, I expect to see an array of conditions, and then there's a bunch of items that have this other schema. It would be nice, and I don't know if you're suggesting this or not, but it would be nice if the underlying element type, like all of that still works just fine. It's just the container that's causing problems, right? Mm-hmm. Like when I look at the schema validation that gets generated for the underlying condition, that's all perfect. And I don't necessarily want to have to type all of that up by hand.
I mean, you don't have to type that by hand. If you, I guess this depends on our internal reference format, but if you mark it as a reference to the condition type, it'll later get flattened.
Okay. Specifically
for your case, this type is not going, well, that's not true. Specifically for this case, do you sort the array?
Yeah, we sort, yeah.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. So for people listening in that may not be clear why I asked that, Kubernetes types and the extension types really are supposed to be what's called round trippable, which means that you can deserialize them into a corresponding Go type and then reserialize them back into JSON, and assuming that the Go type has all the fields to deserialize it, the serialization and reserialization should yield an identical object. And so if you don't sort, the problem here with Joe's object is that because map is unsorted, you'll get, when you reserialize to array, you might get a random order in the array. But if you sort, then you always get the same order.
I'll drop a link to this package that's causing this problem, just so you can see what we're trying to do.
Sounds good.
This might actually be something we want to upstream into controller runtime, to be honest, but that's for a separate discussion.
All right, I think you have the next item as well?
I do. Yeah, here we go. This one I don't know as much about personally. This came up during one of our SDK triage calls. I think it's related. It's basically a similar, like we're trying to do something with this type that's not quite getting parsed correctly in controller tools. It looks like there's some activity recently, so the main reason I have this on the agenda is just to see if anyone here knows what the status is or is working on this or knows what we're going to do with it.
So I can give some background. The main reason why it's paused right now is because, like, in general, maps aren't something that we encourage people to use in Kubernetes, and are mostly in a state where, unless you're doing like one of two specific types of maps, you're really not supposed to have been using them in the first place. According to the Kubernetes API conventions. And so, like, this is one of the cases where you are probably not supposed to be using them. So I've been saying, no, I don't think we should merge this, because my philosophy has been to try to minimize the amount of things that produce an invalid, like a non-recommended Kubernetes schema, so that, like, people don't, hopefully we can guide people towards building the right schemas with controller tools.
So it seems like this is going to be closed as not a bug.
My current thinking is that I would prefer to. I could potentially be convinced otherwise, but mostly I'd prefer to just, like, have controller tools match what our API recommendations say.
That seems reasonable. So you're thinking, like, we'll see if there's any more discussion on this for the next little while, and if not, then we'll just close it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
And so the general suggestion is just use, I guess, slices, right?
Yeah. Generally, so the general suggestion here is that if you need anything more complicated than a map from string to string, which is, like, basically the only allowed type, map from string to string, and technically map from string to string list for some legacy cases, yeah, you should be using a indexed list, I will loosely call it, which is slices with a particular key, like key field, basically, called name. And we have semantics in like server-side apply and stuff like that to handle those cases as kind of ordered maps. And that's most of what we do in Kubernetes. So if you look at, like, the actual serialization of conditions in most cases, you will end up, you see that pattern.
And these topology markers can help too, right? Because
yes, those topology markers indicate how server-side apply should treat that list. So basically, if you say this list has this map key, then when server-side apply goes to merge changes, so if you make a change to that list, it'll determine that you're actually, like, instead of treating the list as atomic, it'll determine that you're just, like, adding an entry to the, like, ordered map, so to speak.
I guess we can move on, I guess. Like, Christopher, you want to?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you all hear me? Cool. So the first issue that's in there is there is basically a bug in the current version of KubeBuilder where anytime you scaffold a new project, it immediately fails. Like to.
Oh no! How did our?
I think you muted it.
Sorry, there we go. There was a patch that was put in right after the last release to fix this, which basically just adds env test back. I was hoping that we can get just a patch release out because it's been this way for the last 20 days.
Oh,
so if you just create API and then just do if you do create API and then you do run the test suite, like make test against that, it will error that you're missing env test out of the box.
How did our golden tests not catch this?
Unless this is just something that's wrong with my setup. It could be. I've done it a handful of times.
I mean, it looks like based on the fix, it looks like the fix is correct and there was a bug here.
Sorry, I think it was not checking the place where the error was occurring, the golden. I think it was fixed in the master as well. If I remember properly. The golden UG tape. Just to share.
Yeah, I can run a couple more tests to make sure that this is still broken. But when I did this yesterday with a new KubeBuilder binary, it still was erroring for me.
Okay.
I was surprised why the E2E test doesn't catch this.
Yeah, we should make sure to look into that. That's a little scary that the ET test didn't catch that. It's possible. So I have like immediate theory is that like Go imports overzealous behavior on inserting and removing imports inserted an import on some systems or something that fixed it. Like where it could find env test, it inserted env test, and if it can't find env test, then it doesn't insert env test because we run Go imports to sort and filter. I think we still do that.
It still does.
What?
It still does, yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, at some point there was some discussion of switching Go imports out for something else, and I couldn't remember if we had gone through with that. So it's possible that Go imports has like saved us in quotes, and by saved us I mean caused it to pass in the ETE tests and fail elsewhere, which is very frustrating. But we should, definitely investigate what happened there.
Yeah, I saw the comment now. I think that was that. I think that we checked it and the Go import is done automatically because it has a sort, has a code. Because it is the golden didn't get.
Yeah. Okay. So let's. Can someone file an issue about making sure this doesn't happen again? And I apologize for this happening in the first place. And
Jack,
I don't know.
create an issue for it.
Okay. I don't know if you did this already and I missed it or something, but please do, if there's something that like seems to be sitting there and it's urgent like this, please do ping us on Slack.
Cool.
And
then I also have the next one as well, which is just a call for some more reviews on this. Thanks, Vince, for poking in there today. I think I saw a comment that got in there. Just looking for some final reviews. It seems like most of the churn has gone away, and it looks like we're kind of centering on something. So if we can get some extra eyes on this just to make sure it's okay, and then move it forward, hopefully, since it's not entirely a break, or it's not a breaking change at all. It would just be a new feature. And I don't know if there's a best practice, if I should be resolving conversations and things like that. I've been avoiding that for right now, for the most part.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, whatever
Okay.
floats your boat. If it's a tiny change and you just want to hide the noise, then that's fine.
Cool. Yeah, I did that for a couple, but there's some bigger conversations about some specific implementation details.
Yeah, that's fine to leave them open if you want. And definitely as just like a general message for people, if there is stuff that's really, really urgent, feel free, if it seems like you're being, even if it seems like you're being annoying or something, you're not, if you have to ping us every day and be like, by the way, there's a breaking change on master, there's a breaking change in a release, that is a fine thing to be like, we need to fix this now.
Cool. Thank you.
So you're gonna cut a new release for KubeBuilder or someone else?
Say that again?
Are we gonna cut a new release? Given that this seems like it's breaking some people.
Yeah, we should cut a new release.
Sounds good. If there are no other agenda items, I'll just we can go do backlog grooming. Going once, twice, 3 times. So for today, I think we'll just do controller runtime. I've briefly looked at controller tools, but there is 44 open, and they pretty much the whole backlog doesn't have milestone in anything. So we probably should take that asynchronously, and figure that out. Or schedule a new backlog grooming. We have 24 open in controller runtime. If that's okay with you all, I'd like to start with the 0.18. Well, in the 1.18 Kubernetes dependencies update, there was some chatter about opening master to 0.6 and update the dependency to 1.18, 0.18. So do you think we should just open master right now for changes and target 1.18 for 0.6?
I think that seems reasonable. Yeah.
Sounds good. So James opened this one, 836. I think he got unholded today. The changes so far look good to me. Do you want to take a look before we merge it? I'm just gonna put it in the milestone for now.
Yeah, we should run the breaking change checker if we haven't already, just so that we can be aware and write better release notes.
Okay.
Oh, you're referring to the Go API diff thing that we've been running on the other Kubernetes version bumps.
Yep.
Cool.
We should put that into a GitHub action or something too, if we can, and have it just have it auto run, and if it finds a breaking change in in the main interface, have it fail unless you have a breaking change emoji or something like that, and otherwise just report the details or something.
Yeah, I think we have an issue in controller runtime somewhere that says we should do that.
Yeah. In all of our copious amounts of spare time.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is covered. Let's keep going through the issue list. Okay, so like just visually, like we will open master for changes, like, and if we need to backport anything, we'll probably do that as well. Okay, the reflector matrix is empty. This might need a little bit of more investigation. I haven't looked into this. Because market. Into next until we get more evidence on this. Allow setting the event recorder host.
I think that last one might have been working as intended. Some of the metrics were removed in a recent client Go release because they were memory leaks waiting to happen or happening in some cases. I don't remember if that's the ones that were removed, but
so maybe we should double check if like they were removed and we should not like register them anymore, I guess, or
yeah. We definitely, I think we need more investigation. Or I'm not. Actually, David, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm here. I remember writing that comment, but I don't remember all the context. I just remembered following the rabbit hole a little bit.
Okay, we can take this offline then.
Okay. So for the host, guess this will be like a signature breaking change if we do it like this. Do we want to make this change in 06 possibly? It's probably a fine ask, I guess.
Yeah. I think there's a way to do it without being a breaking change, which is that we like use information from the manager to construct the host field.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming this is a case, I like probably need to ask if this is a case where you want to identify which controller it was, but if that's the case, like we can probably like use information we already have, like leader election key or something like that as the host. I don't, probably not the like the instance of the controller or whatever, not necessarily the node, I'm assuming. I don't know. Ask them what they want here.
With a custom value or something we can use from.
But yeah, if they just want to distinguish like which is the active oh, that is node name on which the event is generated. Huh. Yeah. Interesting.
I don't know if we actually said it though. I don't think so.
I'm curious as to what the semantics of that are in Kubernetes. I don't actually remember. I wonder if it's only used for pod events and similar, like events that are inherently associated with the node, or if it's used to distinguish like which is the active leader for like kube controller manager or what's going on there. That, yeah, I think that needs more investigation. Someone needs to, yeah.
Let's put into next until we have a clear path forward. Update informers interface to accept context on get informer for kind. David, you filed this one.
Yeah.
Seems like it's a follow-up comment.
Yeah, so actually the PR exists for that and it's mostly ready. I think there was a comment from Joe on that PR that I haven't implemented.
The PR seems already for 06.
Yeah, so we can put the issue in 062, I think.
Yeah. 6 sign.
I think he's already assigned.
Oh, yeah, no, right. We don't need a priority, but I'm going to set lifecycle active. You're working on it. And we're done with this one. 20 more to go. Add dry run option to the client. There's already a PR open for this. I don't think this was a breaking change, but I guess it's probably big enough to.
If it's not breaking, we can put it in 5x. I think I had some comments on the PR.
Yeah, it seems like they were asked for another look. Okay, psychoactive, and then milestone. Side note, we still need to add that milestone plugin one day.
Yeah.
Okay, incorporate discovery server version in the manager interface. Do we want to mark it for design? I honestly don't know the implication of like adding this in right now.
I mean, the listed, someone would probably need to look at the linked issue, but my initial reaction is that the listed thing says it's better to, no, not the use case issue. Yeah. Someone, yeah, this isn't like, you shouldn't be detecting this based on Kubernetes version. You should be detecting it based on like what's available in the REST mapper. Like this is what discovery is like. You should be saying is v1 beta 1 deployment available in discovery, not I know a priori that v1 beta 1 is not available in 1.16 or something like that. Yeah. Hold on, I can write up a response to this quickly. This is 8:33.
Yeah, I'm gonna set milestone to next. Feel free to change if any follow up. Scheme test doesn't check the existence of create options.
I just mark this as good first issue, I think.
And then, I mean, this technique is going 5x, but we'll see. Fake line should reject create update without meta name. Add in some basic validation. Is it really a PR out? This is all good. We're just waiting for 06 to open. I guess like we can actually merge this now.
Yeah, so I think that the issue would be a follow-up to this PR, and I think it should go in 06.
Sounds good. I'm gonna merge this one in, given that we can 06. Okay, perfect. Trend creating a controller if CRD does not exist. Well, I mean, technically you could install the CRDs afterwards. It seems there's a lot of discussion here. I'm just going to set it to next for now and figure it out. The lead validation for validated interface is broken on Kubernetes version before 1.15. Controller runtime 04, local Kubernetes 1.14.7. I thought webhooks were not enabled in before 1.15, not even. System investigation. Creator update falsely claims it's updating resources. This is already marked for more evidence. So.
Yeah, there's some ongoing discussion on this in case anyone's interested. We're trying to figure out if the semantic of the output parameter is, there was an update to be done, or I tried to do an update. I'm not sure how important that is because it was originally mainly intended for logging purposes, but yeah, that's the ongoing discussion.
Yeah, I think there's a PR out for creator patch. There are some comments here, but later. Fake line list does not handle nil list options. Yeah, we already had some discussion around this, and we decided not to add the nil checks. Yeah. I think is it safe to say that like the caller should check that like options are not nil?
I think you have to because you can have nil options that are technically callable, right?
Yeah, I mean.
Yes, yeah.
If you don't have a pointed receiver method, yeah. So.
Yeah. Wait, hold up. This is the listed thing is from fake client is not. It should be possible to list resources. Oh, is this just we need to update the fake client to have variadic options? Or no, the fake client is. I wonder if this person, ask which version of controller runtime they're using. This looks like, the reported bug looks like it's from controller runtime 0.1.x, not 0.2. Because like you should just be able to leave off that argument and leave off the nil and 0.2 and have it.
Yeah, no passes. It's funny because like when here I saw that actually has these, so we'll see. Okay. Allow passing in custom TLS config to manager for use with webhooks. Yeah, I think we have a way to do this with folders today, right?
No, this is about like
This is nested.
I think this is about this needs more design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was a comment somewhere else that this was about compliance, where they like have to take a TLS.config or something like that and pass it on.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Like that general use case also wouldn't surprise me. Like, it's not uncommon to have organization-specific TLS requirements on the Cypher suites you're allowed to use and stuff like that. And so we should probably support that.
Let's find the document if people want. Proposal: add reconciliation buffer to reduce load. But I mean, there is a max concurrent reconciles here, which I have been using a lot too. So.
Yeah, I didn't understand this one because it sounded like he almost wanted to batch updates and handle like multiple requests at once, which confused me.
Yeah,
it didn't seem like it was possible.
I think it seems like he wants to just like, he's handling updates too quickly, and when they like, yeah, they're handling updates quickly enough that like multiple small updates cause multiple requeues, and they want to not do that, basically, I think. But we should ask and clarify on that.
Oh, you mean even per like individual item, not per like multiple items?
Yeah, I think.
I see. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So like, even if there's 10 updates in this time period, only ever run reconcile once every 10 seconds. Which is an interesting use case, but we should clarify that that's what's desired here.
It's like almost like a way to merge multiple updates into one, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, the work queue already will like make sure there's only one queuing of a particular item. So yeah, it's basically, I imagine this is useful for things where you otherwise have a rate limit on your, like, on some external service or something. But I mean, you could handle that externally, I guess. So this is mostly a convenience. Yeah, I would like to know more information here.
Yeah, that's kind of my read on it too. It seems like an optimization with real marginal value at best, unless he has something specific in mind that we're not seeing.
Yeah.
This is already groomed. Fake client doesn't apply field selected option on list. Yes, that's still true, I think. Yeah, so someone needs to work on fake line at some point. I guess. I got bit by this too. Webhook marker allows handle path to be changed, but the deterministic handle is always registered. Is Elena on the call? Let's see here.
I guess this is non-obvious. Oh, this is for the webhook helpers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess they're saying like this path like needs to.
Yes. So for when you use the super high level interface, like not the medium level controller runtime interface with like get webhook server .register, but the high level one with the builder where you just implement methods on your type, like dot validate, update, and dot default. We auto generate these paths because there's no explicit call to .register on the webhook server because we're calling that for you. I don't think, I'm not sure what a good way around this is. Like, it is a little bit of a foot gun, but unless we want to have like a separate marker for there's a high level webhook here, which seems like a little bit too strong of a tie between like semantics in controller runtime and semantics in controller tools. I don't really know what we can do about this.
Yeah. I'm gonna set the mouse on the next bit. And design.
Because it's like separate paths.
Yeah. Watches are not working for some controller. Seems there's a lot of back and forth here.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to end up not being a controller runtime issue. Just personal opinion.
Yeah, this is.
I think Alvaro's on top of it though.
Yeah, looks like it. But yeah, I'm pretty certain this is not controller runtime.
Allow caching client to handle requests for schemas, skipping the cache when the watch verb is unavailable. Oh, that's an interesting use case.
Camilla, do you have a little bit more background on this? I'm tempted to just say use a live client here. Like, this is kind of a strange case. I know of very few resources that where this is an issue. I think most of them are in OpenShift.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think, I believe that the biggest part of the resource has the wash implemented. However, when this verb is not implemented, we cannot use the client goal provided by controller runtime. The issue will be faced. So it is more like a feature request. I believe that maybe the implementation needs to be in the Go client, not in the controller runtime, but I thought it was easier illustrated the need in the controller runtime. So I would like, it's basically, I would like to able to use the client Go provided by the controller runtime, no matter if the resource has or not the watch. So if you don't have the permission to watch a resource, because this could be simulated by removing the permission from the operator as well. So if I don't have the permission to watch that resource, I would like in the same way be able to list or get or updated. So my idea was like we skip the cache in this situation, because I understand that the cache is the wash is required because of the cache, because the cache is using this verb to know when should you update the object. I don't know if I could explain if it just makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think, I mean, you can always fall back manually back to manager.getAPIReader to use a live client instead of using the cache client to do that. I think the two cases you mentioned, no permission to watch and watch not implemented, are slightly separate. Because no permission to watch is a lot harder. There are two different paths to detect, right? No permission to watch requires sending a self-subject access review to figure out if that's something we can, like, if we have permission. Whereas no watch implemented can be done technically through discovery. I think discovery. You might need to do it through OpenAPI schema, but no, it should be through discovery.
With the other the API header, I believe the client header, the other one, we are able to get the object, but we cannot update, for example, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's a workaround to check. If I just would like to get the resource, I could find a workaround, but I could not find a workaround to update the resource or the other operations. No.
Oh yeah. So the workaround for that is actually just the client get API reader returns half of a client. You can, if you do client.new, you get a full client that can update and that fetches directly from the API and can update as well. I can drop that in there. I'm not sure if we want to do the auto detection, just because it seems like a lot of. I'm torn. I'm not sure. I'm curious to see if anyone else has thoughts here. Like, there's a workaround, but the workaround is a little clunky. So
yeah, I think it has another way to attend the same need, but it would be very nice if it was abstracted for the developer. You know, I think it would be great. Like, we could log the message. Okay, resource is not cached or something like that. I don't know if it is be required. But I believe that we could find a way to abstract that, you know, just to skip. Okay, I don't have the permission to watch, but I can update, I can do everything directly. I don't know if what was the cons of that as well.
yeah, I'll note my what we just discussed in the issue, and then we can take the rest of this offline.
I mean, sounds good. My 2 cents that I was gonna say is like, it just feels like almost like the controller runtime won't help you much here, because the whole point is like using the cache and all like the fancy watching
Yeah,
mechanism
but
mechanic.
the client is nice too, I think.
Oh yeah, totally. No, the client is. I almost feel like if you don't have watch, though, like a lot of the features, like the functionality that you have, like it's gonna get thrown away. But this is more like having a reconcile without watch, which it's like, yeah. Anyway, we can decide what to do here.
I think the issue is we're reconciling a different resource, but as we're reconciling, we want to get that resource. And that resource that we're getting typically would go through the cache, and then the cache initiates a watch and a list. So it's a little bit unintuitive, I think. But my first thought when I saw this was, oh yeah, use the API reader. So maybe this is just something that is a documentation thing.
Yeah, could be. I'm gonna punt it to next for now, like until we have one discussion on it. We're at the top of the hour. We're actually 4 minutes late, so I would say like let's do these offline asynchronously if that's okay with you all, and we can reconvene 2 weeks.
See you guys next time.
Thanks, Vince.
Yeah.
See ya.